Let me just show you some of the stuff they did. And, I almost don't want to show you the facts and the accusations, because that wasn't really the problem. If they had made accusations, Bill Barr is a big man. He is perfectly capable of defending himself. In fact, he defends himself very clearly and very well when they ask him. He knows what laws to cite. He remembers where he was. He remembers who said what, and he tells people the truth. And he really does. He says, Trump has let me do what I want. He has told me to be independent. I've been independent. I came back. He said, I didn't have to come back. I came back to set the Department of Justice straight because I love the Department of Justice. And basically, Barack Obama had corrupted it. And that's why he came in. They attacked him for trying to suppress the riots. They attacked him for investigating Barack Obama or the DOJ and the FBI, Russian hoax. They attacked him for basically being Trump's puppet. And at one point he said, give me one example where I've done this. They have nothing on him. They insulted him. They said he should be ashamed of himself. And then they did this, because this is the part I want to play. They have this thing that is called reclaiming my time, which essentially means I'm not going to let you answer the question. This is some little glitch in Robert's Rules of Order where you can invite a guy to a hearing and then reclaim your time before he gets a chance to answer. Listen to this, how many times they did this. This is cut 4.
Reclaiming my time. In April.
Times is, when does something actually become custom?
Reclaiming my time. This is not a trick question.
In this country.
I'm reclaiming my time, Mr. General.
Without any remedy at all.
I'm reclaiming my time. Let me share with you.
Well, you got to let him answer.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time, sir. Reclaiming my time.
But he found
reclaiming my time without political bias.
He said he
and
found
in
no
April,
evidence.
Reclaiming my time, Mr. Attorney. Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming
my time, Mr. Barr.
Occurring substances.
Attorney General, reclaiming my time. There are rules by which we operate here. I would ask you to respect them.
When Jim Jordan actually protested that the witness should be allowed to speak since it's a hearing and he's the person who's supposed to be heard, he was shut down. This is cut 2.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, just real quick. I don't think we've ever had a hearing where the witness wasn't allowed to respond to points made, questions asked, and attacks made. Not just in this hearing, not just in this committee, but every committee I've been on. So particularly when you think about the fact we got the Attorney General of the United States here.
Gentleman does not have the time.
I don't want the time. I want the Attorney General to be able to have enough time to respond to accusations and questions asked him, and you guys not cut him off.
What you want is irrelevant.
Wow, that you want the witness to be allowed to answer the accusations is irrelevant. Nadler would not even let the Attorney General of the United States get up to go to the bathroom for 5 minutes. This is cut 23.
Could we take a 5-minute break, Mr. Chairman?
No.
That's a common courtesy,
Mr.
Chairman, of every witness.
I waited an hour for you this morning. I haven't had lunch. I'd like to take a 5-minute break.
Mr. Attorney General, we are almost finished. We're going to be finished in a few minutes. Otherwise, we can certainly take a break. But
you're real class act.
Okay.
Yeah.
After this.
He says you're a real class act. Barr can't even keep a straight face because it's such criminal activity. It is unbelievable. I mean, this is a disgrace. And again, you say this, but at this point, why should we be surprised when the supporters of the mob act like mobsters? Why should we be surprised when the people who think it's okay to hold the city of Portland hostage for 2 months with mostly peaceful protesters that are burning the city to the ground, harming police officers, that are just an absolute travesty of justice? Because, by the way, it's not a peaceful protest if ordinary citizens can't walk there. If you walk there wearing a MAGA hat, will it still be a peaceful protest, or will you be beat to death? It's not a peaceful protest if it is a threat to ordinary tax-paying citizens who own the property you're standing on. You can't block traffic. You can't block pedestrians. These are not peaceful protests inherently. All right. So now you saw what they did to him. You saw this absolute madness. Now, Madeline Dean I think she's from Pennsylvania or Florida, I can't remember. She goes on MSNBC, and here's what she says about Attorney General Barr.
We actually have to hold him accountable to the American people. You saw his affect yesterday. He was disrespectful, spoke over top of every one of us. In particular, he spoke over women. He was flanked by at least 10 staffers, not a person of color among them. And he couldn't identify that we have systemic racism in this country. Maybe that's because he's living in a bubble. I just have to tell you, it was so disrespectful. The way he approached Congress, the way he approached our committee, his willingness to say one thing and in a single statement flip his own answer.
If I had been doing that interview, I just would have continually interrupted her by saying, reclaiming my time, Congresswoman Dean, reclaiming my, it's disrespectful that he was talking over us while we were interrupting him. That's basically, don't interrupt us. It's like, don't interrupt our riots with the rule of law. Don't interrupt our spying on opposing candidates with the rule of law. And don't interrupt our interruptions with your interruptions. Don't interrupt your interruptions with your answers. That's basically what they're saying. We're asking the questions. Don't interrupt our interruptions with your answers. Here's Nancy Pelosi talking about the Attorney General.
It demonstrated to the American people the contempt that he has for our democracy. I just thought he was despicable and just so beneath the dignity of an attorney general. He is the Attorney General of the United States of America. Too bad he doesn't care or realize that. He should be answering for what he did at Lafayette Square. A disgrace. So this, it's really, he was like a blob. He was like just a henchman for the President of the United States.
A blob, a henchman, but, Trump is just rude. I mean, Trump is mean. Trump is nasty. Trump is really beneath the level of dignity of the President of the United States. That's the Speaker of the House. It's just amazing to me. This is what they didn't want to hear. What they didn't want to hear was Barr talking about the violence in the streets. Let's see. This is the cut. Yeah, go ahead. Play the cut.
We have the obligation to protect federal courts, and the U.S. Marshals specifically have been given that obligation. Federal courts are under attack. Since when is it okay to try to burn down a federal court? If someone went down the street to the Prettyman Court here, that beautiful courthouse we have right at the bottom of the hill, and started breaking windows and firing industrial-grade fireworks in to start a fire, throw kerosene balloons in and start fires in the court, is that okay? Is that okay now?
And all these complaints about Lafayette Park, where the complaint that the rioters were cleared out of Lafayette Park when Trump went to visit the church. And one of the people said, well, even the church leaders complained about the fact that the rioters were cleared out. And Barr said that they complained after the fire in the church was put out or before, because this church, one of the landmarks of Washington, D.C., was set on fire by these clowns. It's interesting. The Associated Press, which is where they ran that story about how the peaceful demonstrations were intensifying. The Oakland courthouse was burned down when peaceful demonstrations were intensifying. The peace just got so intense that the courthouse caught fire. It was amazing. It was just so peaceful. It was so intensely peaceful. Boom, the court just burst into flame. Well, to the Associated Press's credit, although maybe it was to the individual reporters, Mike Balsamo went in and spent the weekend, one of their reporters, inside the Portland Federal Courthouse with the U.S. Marshals. Here's his tweets. Mortars were being fired off repeatedly. Fireworks and flares shot into the lobby, frozen bottles, concrete, cans, and bouncy balls regularly whizzed over the fence at high speeds. I watched as injured officers were hauled inside. In one case, the commercial firework came over so fast, the officer didn't have time to respond. It burned through his sleeves, and he had bloody gashes on both forearms. Another had a concussion from being hit in the head with a mortar. No wonder they don't like the head of the Department of Justice. No wonder Democrats don't like the guy who's the chief law officer in the country. They don't like the rule of law. They are thugs, they're mobsters, and they are the party of the mob. And I know this is hyperbole, except it's not. It actually describes the facts of the matter. Thank you for tuning into The Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.